really interesting, to say the least. So he's going to talk today about his experiences in Cambodia during the 90s. I think you were there for 5 years, right? Yeah. So this is post-genocide, and he's going to talk about the work that he did there and his experiences. So just to advertise for SwatCambodia, we have a couple more events coming up this week. Tomorrow we'll be showing a documentary called New Year Baby, and we tried to bring the director here, but it's kind of expensive, so we didn't bring her. But the documentary is great, and I highly recommend it. And then Saturday we'll be having a Tropical Fruits Parlor Party in Shane Lounge at 9 p.m. You can have durian, dragon fruit, lychee, mangosteen, everything. So be there, try some yummy fruits, and yeah, here's George.
Thank you. I just feel so honored to be part of Cambodia. Some of the most vivid life experiences I have had have been in Cambodia, even though I'm not a Cambodian expert. And so if you really need an expertise perspective, then you'll need to still look for somebody else, as I warned Jennifer. But in terms of vivid life experiences relating to Cambodians, that's what I've heard. And actually in 2 roles. So the 90s, as Jennifer said, was my interaction with Cambodian groups over that period in 6 different workshops. But earlier, I was also in Cambodia in an activist role, actually. So I'll start out there because that was earlier. It was my first impression. It was a very big impression. Made even bigger than you might think by the fact that first I'd been in Vietnam before getting to Cambodia. So I was on a peace mission for Quakers, and I was doing some work in Vietnam. Then I needed to go to Phnom Penh, the capital of Cambodia, in order to do some follow-up. And in Vietnam, I'd spent enough time there, including in the provinces, so that I had a visceral sense of the tremendous destruction of Vietnam that had already taken place by 1967. And flying over the Mekong Delta then to Cambodia, looking out of my plane, it already looked like a lunar landscape. That many bomb holes, that many craters in Cambodia. In Indochina as a whole, I'm told that the statistic is that there were more bombs dropped than there were in all of Europe in World War II. Incredible destructive impact on a relatively small area. And so in Vietnam, I'd been to a provincial hospital. I'd seen complete overwhelm. Medical staff told me, you know, the patients that have maggots in their wounds are lucky. And I said, oh, how's that? And, well, the maggots clean their wounds out, and we can't get to them. So, you know, if the wounds don't get cleaned out, people just are infected and die. That's the kind of condition. And so it was a completely overwhelmed by the military might of the U.S. and in cooperation with the military might of North Vietnam. So that there was this tremendous destructive thing going on. And then, suddenly, to appear in Cambodia, which in 1967 was an oasis of peace. And I will never forget that contrast. It was so, so beautiful. I spent a lot of time wandering around the boulevards, going to markets and so on, interviewing resource people, journalists, and others who could tell me the lay of the land. And what they told me was that Prince Sihanouk, who was the leader of Cambodia for a good long time and had been by then for a long time, had what was an amazingly nuanced diplomat, such that he could navigate things such that Cambodia could stay out of a war that the U.S. wanted it to be in. And sometimes I was sitting on the banks of the Mekong, you know, and aware of behind me, you know, looking across the river to Vietnam, aware of this tremendous serenity behind me, and being able to watch the sky being lit up by bombs and trace bullets and explosives as the U.S. continued a merciless pounding that, of course, went way beyond 1967, continued until 1975. And I thought, thank God, Cambodia has such wise leadership, such stamina, such resilience, that they're able to stay out of this nightmare, this hell that's going on right across the river. Well, they they couldn't stay out of it entirely because Nixon and Kissinger decided it was intolerable from the U.S.'s point of view to allow Cambodia to be in peace. And so the U.S. moved the war into Vietnam and engulfed Cambodia then in the general conflagration. It was one of the most unconscionable acts, I think, that my country has ever perpetrated. I'm still waiting for Nixon's statement of accountability. I think I won't get it. I'm waiting also for Kissinger's. I don't think I'll get that either. But there it was, and I personally observed that. While I was in Cambodia, one of the things that we were engaged with in this project was to take medical. I was needing to negotiate with the North Vietnamese, which had, of course, an embassy there, and about the idea of a Quaker ship, sailing into North Vietnam and then South Vietnam with medical supplies for the people who were suffering as a result of the war. And we couldn't bring a lot of medical supplies, but we could bring at least something. And I had first person seen, as I told you, how overwhelmed the infrastructure was in Vietnam. So I was trying to explain our interest in doing this, and I'd already met with the North Vietnamese government in Paris and Stockholm earlier to try to open up this possibility of a ship voyage that would not only be humanitarian, and by the way, all this destruction in Vietnam and Cambodia was labeled a humanitarian intervention in the discourse at the time. Did I ever learn a lot about words? Anyway, we were truly wanting to do a humanitarian intervention, and the North Vietnamese were really cautious because they said, look, you're likely to get killed if you do that. You have to sail through the 7th Fleet of the United States to even get to Haiphong Harbor. And so you're likely to get killed, and we will feel responsible because our tradition, our cultural tradition, is to feel like hosts for outsiders coming to us, strangers. And we would feel really bad if you got hurt. So we don't want you to do that. So we were doing a lot of back and forth, and the nice thing about negotiating every day with them was that I got to spend more days in Cambodia and specifically in Phnom Penh, wandering around. Well, finally, there was an agreement between the North Vietnamese government and then later the South Vietnamese government and my group, which was called the Quaker Action Group, that we could indeed take a voyage to the north, a voyage to the south with medical supplies. So I was really happy about that. The downside was that in the South Vietnam voyage, we ran into a number of altercations with gunboats, South Vietnamese naval gunboats, and also U.S. coastal naval operations. And not, I think, in their intention, but in some clumsy navigation, we got our ship a little bit wounded. It was a wooden 50-foot boat, smaller than this. And so we became a kind of a wounded boat, although all of us 8 crew were intact. And by the time we'd been through all these various connotations of Vietnam, we really needed to get our ship together. Did I say ship? Did I say connotation? Together in order to be able to take the boat back to its harbor, which was in Hiroshima. So what was next door to Vietnam, of course, was still Cambodia, and so we thought, well, we can at least make it to there, and it's going to be tough, but we'll make it to there, and maybe the Cambodians